It was a slow Thursday afternoon at Maison Olive, a stylish bistro in downtown Chicago. The kind of place where the marble tables gleamed and the menus had no prices printed next to the dishes. The smell of butter and garlic drifted through the air as a waitress named Samantha leaned against the counter, scrolling on her phone and sighing loudly. Another slow lunch shift, she muttered. I need customers who actually tip. As if on cue, the door opened and a man walked in. Tall, calm, dressed simply in jeans and a dark jacket. His name was Marcus Hill. He smiled politely as he took a seat near the window. Samantha looked up, her smile fading just a little when she saw him. Table for one? She asked flatly, grabbing a menu. Yes, please, Marcus said warmly. She handed him the menu with a practiced smile. Just so you know, we have a two-course minimum during lunch hours. Marcus nodded. That's fine. He scanned the menu, then said, I'll have the soup of the day and a glass of water, please. Samantha blinked. Just soup? No entree? No, thank you, Marcus said, still polite. That'll do. Her smile tightened. Of course. Soup and tap water. As she turned away, she muttered under her breath, Probably can't afford the rest anyway. Marcus heard it but didn't say a word. He just smiled faintly and looked out the window, watching the afternoon crowd rush by. When she brought the soup, she set it down with a clatter. Here you go, she said in a tone that made the words sound more like, Here's your charity meal. Marcus thanked her, stirred his soup, and began to eat slowly. He didn't seem angry, just thoughtful. Meanwhile, Samantha went to the bar, whispering to another waiter, Did you see table 6? He ordered soup and water. That's it. Probably just wants to sit here for free Wi-Fi. The bartender chuckled. Hey, at least he's polite. That's more than most. Yeah, well, Samantha said with a smirk, I bet he doesn't even tip. When Marcus finished his soup, he placed his napkin neatly on the table and stood. He waved Samantha over. Could I have the check, please? She brought it without enthusiasm. Here you go, it's $8.50. Marcus reached into his wallet, pulled out a $50 bill, and handed it to her. Keep the change. Her eyes widened. Sir, this is too much. He smiled. No, it's not. You've had a long day. Then he turned to leave. As he reached the door, a man in a suit hurried over from the kitchen. The restaurant's general manager, Paul. Mr. Hill, I didn't know you'd be stopping by today. Samantha froze mid-step. Paul shook Marcus's hand eagerly. I was just telling the staff we're finalizing the new menu. Did you want to review it before we roll it out? Marcus smiled. No need. I trust your judgment, Paul. I just wanted to stop in for lunch. Make sure everything's running smoothly. Paul beamed. Everything's perfect, sir. Marcus nodded, then glanced back toward Samantha, whose face had gone pale. Actually, he said, I did notice one thing that could be improved. Paul straightened. Of course, sir. What's that? Marcus smiled faintly. The service. He gave Samantha one last calm look. Not angry, not smug, just knowing. Then he turned and left the restaurant. Paul looked between the two of them, confused. Samantha, you do realize who that was, right? She stammered. No? That's Marcus Hill, Paul said slowly. He owns this restaurant. The tray in Samantha's hand slipped, crashing to the floor. The next morning, Samantha barely slept. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Marcus's calm expression and heard the manager's words echo in her head. He owns this restaurant. She came into work early, earlier than she ever had. The kitchen lights were still dim, the prep cooks just beginning to set up. She tied her apron with shaky hands and took a deep breath. Okay, she whispered to herself. Today's the day I fix this. By noon, the lunch rush had started, but Samantha couldn't focus. Every time the door opened, she flinched a little, half hoping, half dreading that it might be him. And then, just past 1 o'clock, he walked in. Marcus Hill. Simple black jacket. Same calm presence. Same faint smile. This time, Samantha didn't wait for him to find a table. She approached immediately. Good afternoon, Mr. Hill, she said softly. It's nice to see you again. He looked at her with a hint of surprise, but not unkindly. Afternoon. Table for one, please. Of course, she said quickly, leading him to the same window seat as before. As she handed him the menu, she hesitated. Before you order, I just wanted to say I'm sorry for yesterday. I was rude and I judged you, and I had no right to. You didn't deserve that. Marcus studied her for a moment. She wasn't making excuses. She looked genuinely remorseful and nervous. I appreciate you saying that, he said simply. I mean it, she added. I don't expect forgiveness, but I wanted you to know. Marcus nodded. Thank you. That's a good start. He opened the menu. Now, how about you recommend something? Samantha blinked. You want my recommendation? Sure, he said, smiling faintly. You work here. You must know what's good. Her shoulders eased a little. Well, she said thoughtfully, the grilled salmon is great. And the roasted tomato soup. That's what you had yesterday. It's actually my favorite. Maybe you could do both this time? Marcus chuckled. All right, I'll trust you. She brought his meal with extra care this time. Polished cutlery, fresh bread, perfect plating. She checked in just once, quietly, respectfully. When Marcus finished, he leaned back, clearly satisfied. You were right, he said. That was excellent. Samantha smiled nervously. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. He placed his card on the bill folder. You've improved overnight. She laughed softly. I had a very good reason to. After signing, Marcus stood and said, You know, I started this restaurant because I wanted it to be a place where everyone feels respected, staff and guests. But that only works if we all live by that. Samantha nodded quickly. You're right. I forgot that yesterday. It won't happen again. He looked at her for a long moment, then smiled. I believe you. As he walked toward the door, he stopped and turned. Oh, Samantha? Yes, sir? I'm holding a meeting tomorrow for the staff. We're discussing promotions for floor supervisors. You should be there. Her eyes widened. Me? After what I... He raised a hand. Everyone makes mistakes. It's how you handle them that counts. When he left, Samantha stood frozen, the sound of the door chime echoing in her ears. For the first time in a long while, she didn't feel humiliated. She felt hopeful. The man she had judged had just given her something she hadn't expected. A second chance. The next day, the staff meeting filled the dining room before opening hours. Waiters, cooks, bartenders, everyone was there, whispering about why the owner himself was coming in to talk. Samantha sat near the back, her hands folded tightly in her lap. She hadn't slept again, caught between guilt and nerves. At exactly 9 o'clock, Marcus Hill walked in, carrying a cup of coffee and a quiet authority that made the room instantly still. He wasn't flashy. No suit, no entourage, just the same man who had once ordered soup and water. Morning, everyone, he said warmly. I'll keep this short. I started Maison Olive 10 years ago with one goal, to build a place where people come for more than food. I wanted respect on the menu. A few people exchanged curious looks. Marcus continued. We serve luxury here, but that doesn't mean arrogance. Some of you already understand that. You treat customers, co-workers, and yourselves with pride. But I've noticed we sometimes forget who we're serving. We think success gives us the right to judge people who don't look the part. His words were calm, but they carried weight. No one moved. Yesterday, he said evenly, I had lunch here. One of our servers didn't recognize me and decided I wasn't worth her attention. She assumed, based on what I ordered, that I didn't belong here. The staff shifted uncomfortably. Everyone knew who he meant, but Marcus didn't point her out. He smiled faintly. She came to work this morning, owned up to it, and apologized. That takes courage. We all mess up, but few of us learn that quickly. Then he looked toward the back of the room. Samantha, would you stand up a moment? She froze. Her heart pounded as she slowly stood. Every head turned. Marcus nodded. Yesterday she made a mistake. Today she made it right. And I'd rather have an employee who learns from failure than one who never learns at all. The room was silent, but it wasn't awkward. It was respectful. He set his cup down. Starting next week, Samantha will help train new hires on customer care and hospitality. Not because she's perfect, but because she understands now what this place is really about. Samantha's eyes filled with tears. Thank you, sir, she managed. I won't forget this. Marcus smiled. That's the point. None of us should. After the meeting, staff members came up to her one by one, clapping her shoulder, whispering, "Good for you," and "You earned that." When the restaurant opened for lunch, Samantha moved through the dining room differently. She greeted everyone, rich, poor, suited, or simple, with the same warmth. Her smile wasn't practiced anymore. It was real, and from the corner booth, Marcus watched quietly, sipping his coffee. The woman who had once looked down on a man with soup and water was now teaching others how to serve with grace. Because in the end, Marcus hadn't just built a restaurant. He'd built a lesson. One plate, one person, one act of respect at a time. A few months later, Maison Olive had changed. Not the marble floors or the elegant decor, but the atmosphere. Guests were greeted with warmth instead of attitude. The staff worked together instead of competing for tips. And the restaurant's reputation had soared. The shift began quietly but spread fast. Customers noticed. Reviews praised not just the food, but the heart of the service. People said Maison Olive felt human, something rare in luxury dining. And at the center of it all was Samantha. She had grown into her new role effortlessly, mentoring new hires, organizing staff meetings, and even creating a training manual titled Serving with Respect. She didn't just talk about kindness. She lived it. She remembered faces, stories, and names. She made sure every guest, from the millionaire at the corner booth to the delivery driver grabbing takeout, felt equally valued. One afternoon, Marcus walked into the restaurant unexpectedly, as he often did. He liked to come without warning, to see the place as it truly was. But this time, when he stepped in, the dining room was buzzing, and not just with customers. Local news cameras were set up near the bar. A reporter was interviewing Samantha, smiling brightly as she held a microphone. "And how did this change start?" the reporter asked. Samantha laughed softly. "Honestly, with a mistake. A big one. I judged someone unfairly. Someone who turned out to be my boss. Instead of firing me, he taught me something. That respect is the foundation of everything. That lesson changed me. And it changed this place." Marcus stood at the entrance, unseen but listening, pride flickering in his eyes. The reporter smiled. "So, what's the secret to Maison Olive's success now?" Samantha glanced around the room, at the servers smiling, the guests laughing, the cooks waving from the kitchen window. "It's simple," she said. "We serve people, not assumptions." The crowd applauded quietly as the interview wrapped. The reporter shook her hand and left. Samantha turned Kay and froze when she saw Marcus watching from the doorway. "Mr. Hill," she said, cheeks flushing. "I didn't know you were—" He chuckled. "I know. I wanted to see you in action." She smiled nervously. "Did I do all right?" He stepped closer. "You did better than all right. You turned one bad moment into something people will remember. That's leadership." Samantha blinked. "Leadership?" He nodded. "I've been thinking, I'm opening a second Maison Olive uptown. I need a manager I can trust. Someone who understands that running a restaurant starts with heart." Her breath caught. "You mean—" "Yes," Marcus said, smiling. "If you want it, the job's yours." Tears welled in her eyes, but she laughed through them. "I don't even know what to say." "Say you'll keep doing what you've been doing," Marcus said gently. "Because that's what built this place." She nodded, overwhelmed. "I will. I promise." As Marcus left the restaurant that afternoon, sunlight glinting off the glass doors, he couldn't help but smile. The woman who once served him with disdain was now the one serving his dream, and doing it better than anyone else could. And for Samantha, that day marked something more than a promotion. It was proof that redemption wasn't about forgetting the past. It was about rewriting it with grace. Because sometimes, the people we look down on become the ones who lift us higher. And sometimes, the person we were yesterday becomes the reason we grow tomorrow.